The movie begins as an automated medical pod awakens an astronaut named Ryland from a deep coma. The ship's AI, Mary, asks him basic questions, but Ryland has total amnesia and is terrified. He escapes the medical arm and searches the vessel, only to find that his 2 crewmates are dead. Looking out a viewport, he realizes he is stranded alone in deep space. Though he can't remember his name, Ryland understands the complex science equipment around him. In a nearby room, giant screens display looping clips of Earth. Mary asks him to record a video diary, but when Ryland demands to speak to the captain, the AI reveals he is the sole survivor. He tries to transmit a message home, but Mary explains that a radio broadcast will take 12 years to reach Earth. Checking the navigational map, Ryland realizes he is looking at an entirely unfamiliar sun. He runs the math and discovers he is 113 light-years away from Earth. Suddenly, a violent headache triggers his memories. He remembers he was a molecular biology teacher tracking a global crisis called the Petrova Line, a mysterious anomaly draining solar energy that would plunge Earth into a deadly ice age within 30 years. In the present, Ryland shaves and makes a crude doll from his dead crewmate's clothes to cope with the crushing loneliness. Another flashback reveals he was recruited by Eva, the head of a global task force. She read Ryland's controversial paper arguing that life doesn't require water and revealed that organic samples from the sun were surviving without it. Ryland joined the team and isolated the microscopic alien cells. He discovered the cells consumed solar energy to reproduce and emitted infrared light matching the Petrova line. Ryland found that the cells, which he named astrophage, migrated to Venus because they needed carbon dioxide. Recognizing his genius, the International Coalition drafted him into Project Hail Mary. Eva explained that stars across the cluster were dimming, except for Tau Ceti, which was completely immune. The plan was to send a one-way spacecraft fueled by harvested astrophage to find Tau Ceti's secret. The crew would sleep in a medical coma for the journey, discover the cure, and send the data back to Earth via automated mini-probes while dying in deep space. Back in the present, Ryland gives his fallen friends a tearful eulogy before ejecting them into space. Mary announces they have entered Tau Ceti's orbit, and the engines shut down, plunging the ship into zero gravity. Looking outside, Ryland is shocked to see a massive, non-human spacecraft tracking his movements. The alien ship launches a small container toward him. Ryland executes a clumsy spacewalk to retrieve it and finds it contains an advanced 3-dimensional star map. The alien is showing where its home planet is. Ryland marks Earth's location on the map and launches it back. The alien vessel responds by deploying a physical docking tunnel made of an indestructible material Ryland names Xenonite. He crawls through the tunnel and comes face to face with a giant, 5-legged rock-like creature. The alien speaks in beautiful musical chords that sound like a pipe organ. After a brief moment of fear, the two begin striking silly poses to build trust. The alien leaves a custom collar in the tunnel, which Ryland recognizes as the atomic structure of oxygen, signaling the atmosphere is safe. Ryland takes off his helmet and confirms he can breathe perfectly. He discovers the alien also brought an astrophage sample. Its home star is dying too. Recognizing they share the same mission, Ryland decides to build a translator. He realizes the alien lacks eyes and relies entirely on advanced acoustic echolocation, nicknaming him Rocky. Ryland modifies a clock with physical numbers so Rocky can see it via sound waves. He uses his laptop microphone to record Rocky's musical words, systematically building a digital translation software. Rocky reveals that its entire crew died from radiation sickness during the journey, leaving it completely alone for years. The two share an emotional moment and agree to save their stars together, sealing it with a fist bump. Ryland sets up a bed by the viewport, and both fall asleep side by side. Rocky later builds a mobile pressure bubble to explore the Hail Mary, comically scolding Ryland for his messy workspace. The duo deduces they need wild astrophage samples from a nearby planet named Adrian to study how it behaves in its natural habitat. The 11-day trip allows them to bond, and Ryland performs a dangerous spacewalk to attract thousands of wild cells, creating a brilliant bioluminescent glow. Analyzing the samples, they discover the astrophage population on Adrian is kept perfectly balanced by a specialized predatory bacteria that hunts and eats the cells. If they can harvest this bacteria, they can cure their sons. However, the bacteria lives inside Adrian's volatile, superheated atmosphere. Rocky manufactures a massive xenonite chain to fish for the samples from orbit. Ryland lowers the collection probe into Adrian's toxic clouds, but the intense heat begins tearing the ship's outer hull apart. A piece of metal strikes Ryland, knocking him unconscious. He awakens to an alarm showing the probe is full but dangerously snagged. Ignoring Rocky's pleas to retreat, Ryland executes an emergency spacewalk to manually free the probe. The severe damage causes a fuel tank leak, sending the ship into a violent spin. Fighting crushing G-forces, Ryland ejects the leaking containers before passing out. Showing incredible bravery, Ryland wakes up fully healed and finds Rocky resting safely back inside its repaired bubble. He sits quietly by his alien friend. Ryland isolates the predatory bacteria, naming it Taumiba. He successfully cultivates it inside custom xenonite breeding chambers, deliberately exposing it to high carbon dioxide levels to mutate the bacteria, so it can survive the harsh atmospheres of both Venus and Rocky's home star. While Rocky rests in a coma, Ryland works tirelessly until his alien friend finally awakens healthy. They check the Taumiba farm and confirm they have a sustainable population of the cure. Ryland remembers that after refusing to go on the suicide mission, he had desperately tried to escape the launch facility. Eva's guards had violently tackled and sedated him, forcing him onto the ship against his will. Ryland realizes his amnesia hid the truth. He wasn't a volunteer hero. Shaken but focused, Ryland helps Rocky finalize repairs. They share an emotional goodbye before charting separate courses home. As the Hail Mary accelerates toward Earth, a contamination alarm blares. Ryland discovers the Taumiba bacteria has eaten through the xenonite seals. He contains the breach on his vessel, but realizes Rocky's entire ship is made of xenonite. If the bacteria escaped there, it will eat Rocky's fuel, leaving him stranded to die. Ryland runs the calculations and realizes a devastating truth. He has just enough fuel to either return to Earth or turn around to save Rocky, but he cannot do both. Refusing to let his best friend die, Ryland packs his scientific findings and the successful Taumiba farm into the automated mini-probes and launches them toward Earth, sacrificing his only chance of seeing humanity again. He turns the Hail Mary around and intercepts Rocky's drifting, powerless ship, executing a frantic spacewalk to save him. Years later, the probes safely land on Earth, allowing a grateful humanity to reverse the Ice Age. Meanwhile, on Rocky's restored home planet, Ryland has built a comfortable life. He has become fully fluent in the alien language and smiles as he happily leads a class of little alien children into their next science lesson. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.